Hi everyone. It's time for me to do my rundown of the top published books I read this year. Since I mostly read Hermione, this list was a lot shorter than last year because it was hard to find things that hit like fan fiction. If you know, you know. But get ready with me while I do this look and let's get into it. Okay, so first, a few genre favorites. In memoirs, I didn't read a ton of memoirs, but out of those, my favorite was Happy Go Lucky by David Sedaris. He's never bad or wrong. You will laugh and cry. I just feel like reading David Sedaris changes you, no matter the book. Just read them. Also, if you're one of my Hermione girlies, I just have always felt like Theo, in my mind, is David Sedaris coded. I don't know why, but tell me I'm wrong. I bought this age 20s Korean foundation at a Korean beauty store. Let's see how it goes. So my favorite thrillers of the year, I had two. One of them was Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix, which I've talked about before. It's about expecting young, like teenage women sent to an awful home while they're pregnant, and they discover witchcraft as a way to get back their power. It's very good. It's fun. It's sad. It'll make you furious, but it was really fun. Foundation color might be a little light for me. She did such a thorough color match, but that's okay. Anyway, my other favorite thriller was called Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I think that's how to say that. A family lives on a remote island near Antarctica where there were once scientists, but some kind of dark stuff has occurred, and now the family is alone, and then a mysterious woman washes up on the shore. I don't know that I would call this book like a fun, good time, because it was definitely like dark and a little sad in parts, but I was sat for it. My favorite YA read was Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. If you have never read The Hunger Games, you probably don't care. But if you did like The Hunger Games, you should definitely read this. It was really, really good. All right, my favorite romantasy read was The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Brigitte Knightley. Of course, if you're my Hermione fan, you know you know. But if you're not, this was loosely inspired by the same author's Draco Hermione fanfic, which is one of the most popular ones, Draco Malfoy and the Mortifying Ordeal of Being in Love. It is not that fic, it's just sort of loosely inspired by it. But it was really, really fun. Sadly, it's only part one of a duology, so maybe wait until they're both available because that was a little bit of a shock to me. My favorite romance, that was kind of hard. I really liked Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, but I think I'd have to give the top spot to Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. And I did really like it, but while I liked it, it was not my favorite by her. Emily Henry is my favorite romance author. I don't love contemporary romance, but there's just something about her books. It's hard not to like them. Okay, and now we're moving on to my top five-star reads of the year. And I've talked about a lot of these before, so I won't say a lot about them. The first one is Here One Moment by Liane Moriarty. I have definitely talked about this. A woman on an airplane begins telling people when their lives will end, and then the book follows some of the passengers as it explores how this information changes them and connects them to others. It's mysterious, it's fun, but also extremely heartwarming. Next up is Margot's Got Money Troubles by Ruthie Thorpe. This book is just a yes all the way around. A woman has an interlude with her writing professor that results in a baby, and now she has to raise said baby with very little assistance, both emotional or financial. So she investigates the world of OF along with her very fun roommate and her ex-wrestler father, who was maybe one of my favorite characters of the year. Right, next up is Broken Country by Claire Leslie Hall. And as I was writing these up, I realized how many of these books are about pregnant women. This is kind of funny. Is there a theme this year? This is a beautiful story of a woman who lives in a remote farm in England, and she falls in love with the boy next door. That part was so romantic. But then he went away. He was like rich. And then she married a farmer and led a happy life until the boy next door moved back into town onto his farm as a single dad. It was sad, it was romantic, it was lovely, it was all the things. I highly recommend. Next is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and it's another banger by TJR. Are we surprised? No. This one is set in the 1980s and is about astronauts, female astronauts. It's a love story. It's a lovely slice of life love story that will have you on the edge of your seat in some parts. And finally, we are at my 6-star read of the year, my favorite book of the year. It is no surprise. It is Alchemized by Sen-Lin Yu. And yes, this began as arguably the most famous Hermione fanfiction ever, called Manacled. But do you have to know that to read Alchemized? No. In fact, I'd be curious to know, is it maybe a little easier to read when you're not trying to make the connections? The fantasy elements of this are kind of based in science, so it makes sense in a weird way. It didn't feel like so off the wall. It felt like a very carefully and thoughtfully constructed world. So if you care about that kind of thing in fantasy, I think that this does that nicely. So imagine a semi-magical world where the bad team won the war, and now the good side is kind of at their mercy, all while trying to fight back. This is a sweeping book that is about everything. Yes, there's a love story. Yes, there's romance, but it is also about war. It's about ethics. It's about status, immigration, legacy, loss, and overall love, and all different types of love. But the romantic love, it changed my neural pathways. Highly recommend this book. Okay, and that's all. What were your favorite books this year? I'd love to know, and I'll see you next time. Bye.